Hey everyone, let's jump right into this explainer and uncover the terrifying reality hidden behind the peaceful illusion of Mount Everest. When we imagine looking up at those majestic, snow-capped peaks, the literal roof of the world, it all looks so serene and timeless, doesn't it? But today, we're going to dive into the science and peel back that beautiful exterior. Because right now, high above those clouds, a silent bomb is ticking. A massive disaster is brewing that literally has the potential to sweep away entire villages, and honestly, most of us are just going about our daily lives completely unaware.
And just to be clear, we aren't talking about your standard, everyday melting ice or some incredibly slow environmental shift. We're looking at a literal tsunami in the sky. That's the actual phrase scientists and experts are using. We've got thousands of glacial lakes situated directly above vulnerable mountain communities. The threat here isn't a gradual flood where the water creeps up an inch a day. It's a sudden, catastrophic, earth-shattering wave.
Part 1. A tsunami in the sky. Moving right along to Section 2, Melting of the Third Pole.
To really wrap our heads around the scale of this, we have to talk about the third pole. You know about the North and South Poles, right? Well, the Himalayas act as our planet's massive third global ice reserve. But the crucial point is that this ancient ice, which has been frozen solid for thousands of years, is fundamentally changing our geography right before our eyes. Over the last few decades, these mountains have started to change in ways that are frankly terrifying. They are melting and turning into water at a speed we just haven't seen before.
So what's throwing the switch on this? The catalysts driving this change are incredibly immediate and aggressive. It's a combination of rising global temperatures, crazy El Niño events, and these record-breaking heat waves we keep seeing. They are acting as the immediate triggers for this massive melting event. The ice up there is simply not equipped to handle this kind of extreme heat, and because of that, it's rapidly turning from solid ice into liquid water.
Section 3. Understanding outburst floods.
Okay, let's break down exactly how this happens step by step. As that ice melts at unprecedented rates, all that water has to go somewhere, right? So it pools into these massive high-altitude lakes. But here's the really scary part. These lakes aren't held back by reinforced concrete or engineered steel. They're held back by basically nothing but loose rocks, debris, and fragile chunks of ice. It's like a giant, super weak natural dam. And eventually, when that fragile dam can no longer handle the sheer weight and pressure of the expanding lake, it just snaps.
If there's literally only one scientific concept you remember from this explainer today, make it this acronym: GLOF, Glacial Lake Outburst Flood. This is the official term for that catastrophic breaking point. It's totally comparable to a massive man-made dam suddenly failing, except this one is completely natural and suspended miles up in the sky. When one of these thousands of glacial lakes hits that bursting point, that is exactly how you get a tsunami from the sky.
And here's why this matters to us. Unlike slow-rising rivers or seasonal flooding where you can casually watch the water levels creep up on the news over a week, this threat gives communities almost zero warning. You do not get days to pack up your car and evacuate your family. You get minutes. The water rushes down the mountainside with just devastating force. It's a situation where ignoring the warning signs is a fatal error, and history proves that ignoring this stuff leads to absolute catastrophe.
All right, Section 4, Learning from Singapore. So, how do we handle this? Well, we have two choices. On one hand, we can leave safety entirely up to chance, essentially crossing our fingers and risking man-made catastrophes through negligence, or we can look at incredibly proactive models like Singapore. You see, the Singaporean government didn't wait around for a crisis to happen. They looked at their environmental vulnerabilities and proactively designed their entire infrastructure to manage water and protect their citizens. They didn't leave a single thing to luck.
The absolute key takeaway here is that governments cannot just wait for a crisis to strike. True development and actual safety, they are the result of deliberate, well-thought-out strategies. Safety demands proactive intervention. Singapore understood that perfectly, and if we're going to survive the looming threat of these glacial lake outburst floods, we absolutely have to adopt that exact same mindset.
Which brings us to Section 5, Power Policies for Survival.
First things first, if we want to build these strategies, we have to tackle the brain drain. In places right on the front lines, like Nepal, the absolute brightest minds often leave for opportunities in other countries. But we desperately need that brain power right at home. We need those brilliant engineers and scientists staying local to solve these exact environmental puzzles. We need people who can look at a fragile glacial lake and figure out the exact infrastructure or warning systems required to keep everyone below it safe.
I want you to read this quote.
I absolutely love it because it completely shifts the paradigm. It pulls us away from the endless, unproductive ego of politics and points us straight toward the Dharma, the fundamental, moral duty of protection. Managing these massive environmental disasters shouldn't be some cheap political talking point. It is quite literally a vital duty to protect the land and the people living in the shadows of these mountains.
You know, you might have heard of the Power 9, those really popular lifestyle habits that researchers say help a person live to be 100 years old. Well, just as individuals use those habits for a long life, nations need their own version. They need what we can call power policies. These are the aggressive, proactive environmental strategies that will help a nation survive not just for the next 10 years, but for centuries to come, no matter what extreme curveballs the climate throws at them.
So what is the game plan? Surviving this requires immediate, actionable steps. We absolutely cannot just hand our fate over to authorities and hope for the best. We have to demand precise, 24/7 monitoring of these high-altitude lakes. We need immediate, state-of-the-art warning systems rolled out for these mountain communities right now to give them those precious minutes they need to survive. We have to stay informed, and we have to spread this awareness everywhere.
I'm going to leave you with this stark question to ponder. Are we doing enough to protect the Himalayas and the millions of people living beneath them, or are we literally just sitting around waiting for this silent bomb to go off? Because I promise you, the ice on the third pole is melting right now as we speak. The choice between a proactive strategy and a total disaster is entirely ours. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer today. Keep learning, stay aware, and stay safe.